T-minus 1 minute.
What?
More juice for the gyro.
Like the juice.
T-minus 50 seconds.
At the point where we're at, it is a lot easier for new people to get up to speed really quick.
T-minus 40 seconds.
Let's go. That's a W. That's E1. That's E1. That's a W. How many people want to eat a W tonight?
T-minus 30 seconds.
Rick Hill taking over our camera. I think there may be a penalty for excessive celebration, but you know what? I'm going to let that one slide.
T-minus 20 seconds.
That's what I'm talking about. Now y'all some fun.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5,
Take a deep
4,
breath.
3,
This is it right
2,
here.
1, 0.
NFL MVPs, Player of the Year awards have been announced. NFL MVPs are 0-9 in the Super Bowl. Can Patrick Mahomes break the curse this year? We're approaching Super Bowl weekend. I got Steve, the eBay hitman, and myself, Andy Kaysen, here back on the Football Card Quest to parlay everything we love about football and fantasy football with the football card market. Steve, I heard you just cracked something over there.
Yeah, buddy. We're going bang tonight. How about yourself?
Nice. Bang. Yep. I got my artificial turf, my slightly mighty low-cal IPA. Tasty.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So 0-9, Pat Mahomes. Man, I'll tell you what. I think it'll be 0-10, honestly.
Oh, big prediction right out of the gate here for the Eagles. I'm also rooting for the Eagles in this one, although I do recognize it is likely to be a coin toss. I mean, this is, you can't ever count Patrick Mahomes out with how dynamic that offense is. And, their offensive line is good. Patrick Mahomes likely to be a little bit more recovered. I've also seen injury reports that guys like Juju Smith-Schuster, Kadarius Toney, are all going to be playing in this game. So, man, super exciting. You also have the young, juiced up rookie Isaiah Pacheco ready to, prove that he's growing in the NFL. He's getting some better vision, and that's a little weakness of the Eagles. If they had one on defense, is that D line. So, I'm super pumped because this is one of the biggest betting events of the year, Steve, and Underdog Fantasy has got a promo going this weekend, so we're going to talk about that a little bit later. We want to also look at some of our favorite targets heading into this offseason, see if we can capitalize on any snipes on eBay that are auctions ending tonight, maybe. So super pumped about digging into all that as well, my friend.
It's a little early, but there's always the trade rumors and the free agent rumors that are already beginning to swirl. It's never too early to dig into that. I know quite a few people more excited about that than the actual Super Bowl itself. So let's get into everything and anything.
Yeah, the Super Bowl has been so built up over the past week and a half. Like, a lot of my attention has been on the free agency, the trade market, Aaron Rodgers out on a quarterback retreat and probably just took a big fat dose of LSD or something and is trying to figure out what he wants to do this offseason. But every Packers fan I talked to, so I had travel for work earlier this week as while I was out of pocket, and I was talking to a diehard Packers fan who actually goes to the game. Like, he's like a ball boy at the games. And he's like, dude, I just want Rodgers to leave. Like, he can't stand the drama anymore. And I think a lot of Packers fans are just tired of it, man. So I think we should have an answer on what's going to happen with him. And then I think we should have some more clarity on what's going to happen with Derek Carr. There's some interesting information that I dug up today on Derek Carr, which is another major quarterback storyline to follow this offseason. So, and of course, I've been, digging deep into all of their card values and sold values and the comping And not only them, but like who's going to replace them? And so the guys behind them, like the Jordan Loves and the Jared Stidhams, even the Kyle Trask on Tampa Bay, man.
Yeah, I think that I don't know, man. If I was a Packers fan, I would be a bit leery about moving on from a guy that's that good. I wouldn't say that the reason they've been losing is him. You got to put it in bigger perspective. You know, they lost their number one offensive weapon. Yeah, they have a great run game, but losing a Devontae Adams is generational talent at wide receiver. It's a pretty big deal. And if you run him out of town, then good. He deserves better, and so does Carr, honestly.
Yeah, well, it'll be really interesting. So Derek Carr's got a no trade clause. He also is guaranteed $40 million 3 days after the Super Bowl. So the Raiders have got to release him, or they're going to have to pay him $40 million, which is actually to his benefit if he doesn't lock in a trade before then, right? Because they can release him and he'll have an entire month head start over all the other free agents in the market. And so he's able to meet with teams and negotiate deals, similar to what happened to J.J. Watt, before last season. So it's interesting. I think this is actually in the favor of Derek Carr. Derek Carr is kind of in the catbird seat here, where he can create a little bit of a bidding war. Even if you just look at all the NFC South teams, even though Arthur Smith said that this week, actually, that he is looking forward to giving Desmond Ridder another chance this upcoming season, and he thinks the team can build around Desmond Ridder. I still think that if they can get a guy like Derek Carr or Lamar Jackson or a big quarterback upgrade, they would absolutely take it. And then you look at Tampa, you look at the Saints, they're already talking to Carr. He's already been meeting with them earlier this week. And you look at the Panthers, they could all create a bidding war. So I was digging into their cap space and their draft capital and everything they're setting up for this offseason to kind of anticipate some of these moves, because we know, Steve, these news events will create massive waves on eBay in demand for their rookie cards. So it's exciting, something we want to get out in front of.
Yeah, and as we've seen before, a lot of times it's just the breaking of the news that sends the shockwave into the eBay marketplace that gets everybody buying, and they'll still be buying up to the point the season starts, but it will slow down almost to the point where the crescendo is, in fact, the news coming out and not the first game.
So true. So true. So let's welcome in Victor, Halo's finest. We got J Kidd in the house. We got Derek Richard, says my farts smell like the 49ers. Derek O'Neill. I'm sure there's a Messiah or a Dave Bosquet out there. And we got the real Noriega in the house. Derek O'Neill. Got another Derek. Aaron. Andy, stay dialed. Aaron Wilbrew. Love it. Tyreek Major. Eagles winning hungry, and the energy is very high. Love it. So we're going to look at the prop bets on those Eagles and Kansas City Chiefs here in a few minutes. In the special, it's the Underdog Fantasy is making it super easy. I also want to share with you guys what our other sponsor has got going on, the Card Shop Live. I'm going to share what they've got going on over on their app here in a little bit as well. Aaron says he put his life savings on the Eagle. Oh, dear God, man, this is going to be a big weekend for you, bro.
Clench those butt cheeks.
Clench those butt cheeks. Derek always got some good jokes there. The Kirk Cousins and the chains. Now should I hold Jalen Hurts or sell his card? This is a great topic because I think it applies to not only Jalen Hurts, but also to Devontae Smith, to guys like AJ Brown. And I mean, I'll let you take this one first, Steve, because I think I maybe hit on this one last week. I want to get your opinion.
Yeah, there's two ways you can go about it. And then, are you a volume seller? Are you looking to sell as many cards as you can and just keep slowly building a bankroll up? Or are you looking for the the potential big payoff, in which case, you maybe want to hold on to it for a bit longer. I think I actually wanted to talk about this week, Andy, because we get into this topic. It seems like every week, people saying, I bought this last year and I'm still holding it. What's going on? And, some of the biggest profits I've made, in the football card market were cards that I held for, 8 to 10 months. And I'm not saying that that's the strategy for everyone or every specific instance, but with a guy like that's that young and he's that good and his team's that good, if you didn't get a chance to move it this week or by Sunday or even, Monday or Tuesday, you're not necessarily at a disadvantage. We've seen the 2020 QB class values go up and down and fluctuate, but they always seem to stay high. Right now you can buy Herbert for pretty cheap, but we saw what happened, last year, halfway through the year. So these guys are going to fluctuate over time, but ultimately, as long as the team stays winning and they keep producing, I think you're in a good spot. So, if you're not hurting and you want to see a nice big payoff, go for it, or sell it now. And, right before the draft, try to pick the same card back up for, 100, 200 less.
I still think there's a large portion of the hobby and the fan base overall for the NFL that don't think the Eagles and Jalen Hurts are going to beat the Chiefs. I still don't think they're sold on Jalen Hurts being an elite quarterback within the NFL, even though in some of his passing metrics and passing categories this year in terms of efficiency, deep ball, yards per attempt, EPA per play, expected points added and all that stuff, he was top 10, man. And, a big portion of that is their elite offensive line, elite run game. He's also an elite rusher. And they've got one of the best wide receiver duos in Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown, then a top 10 tight end in Dallas Goedert. So, yeah, you've got all these other complementary pieces, this supporting cast. But we talk about how important that is. Mahomes is fantastic. But if he didn't have Travis Kelce, his offensive line is a top 10 offensive line. Travis Kelce is the best tight end, arguably, to ever play the game. And that's takes two to tango there, right? You got to have Mahomes and Kelce, but that chemistry that they build is incredible. And, I think that if the Eagles could pull off the Super Bowl win here, if they can get this victory, then we will see more of a constant, like a new norm for his rookie card prices. What do you think about that? Because I've seen people reach here and there, but I have not, for example, seen the Prism PSA 10 prices get up to 250 or to where the Burrows got before the championship game. So if you were to just compare Burrow and Herbert to Jalen Hurts is still 60, 75% of what their values are.
Totally agree. Now, I have seen some instances in the past week where Hurts was actually going higher than Herbert in a lot of instances, and that just may be because of the hyper relevancy of the Super Bowls this weekend. But I do agree that a Super Bowl win, and especially a Super Bowl MVP, would cause his off-season values to not quite decline to, pre-Super Bowl levels, and in fact, keep him, in the upper echelon, if you will.
Yeah, no, the Herbert and Jalen Hurts comparison is very interesting because Herbert has literally been the hobby darling since he broke out his rookie season 2020. I mean, it was just a perfect storm of everything that was going on with sports cards at the time and the height of COVID and Herbert breaking out from later in the draft class when all the focus was on Burrow and Tua, coming out of the gate. So it is really interesting to compare those two in terms of volume. Look, like right here, right on the Keep 'Em web app website, which everybody asked me in the comments, this and that. You guys can get access to this if you're not part of our Patreon. Our patreon.com/footballcards program has access to this web app built in, for as little as $6 a month. And so it tracks all graded football cards sales through eBay and allows you to do some pretty cool things with it. We typed in Herbert and Hurts, and we've got PSA 10 30-day total sales, and this is going to show us the total sales volume and the price change in the trend over the latest sales. So you can see that Jalen Hurts is just dominating the sales volume.
Look at the base prism. It's 165 trend and a 148 trend. So he's outselling Herbert right now.
Yeah, and it's kind of cooled off, right? Like the hype peaked after they won the championship game, and now over the past 2 weeks, it's just kind of been stewing, right? People are buying. There's some interesting reaches here and there, but ultimately it's not gone crazy. I guess that's the best way to describe it. Like if you were add Joe Burrow in here, it's not gone to the Joe Burrow level, which I think is the cream of the crop for the 2020 draft class. It's not gone to the Joe Burrow level. He's cooled off a little bit, but his average is still 263. And you can see he's still up here as the 1 and 2 most sold PSA 10 slab in the past 30 days. But then you've got the Hurts, and it's selling. It's doing good, right? If they win the Super Bowl, that's obviously going to be spike, and that's going to be very interesting to watch and see what those go up to. But it's like, why sell now if you don't have to? Like I wouldn't sell now for 165. I kind of roll the dice because they've got such a good team. He's so young. He's locked in and loaded as their starter. I think they could very easily be contenders this year, next year. Obviously, their schedule is going to be harder next year, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult. But they're locked in, baby. They're locked in. And I don't think you need to be in any rush, because after what they've showed this season, he's going to be going into September with a tremendous amount of hype. People could be reaching on him this offseason. They've got the number 10 overall pick in the draft. Like they've got options. It's not only they're Super Bowl contenders now, but they've got draft capital to spend because of how well Howie Roseman has set them up for the off season. So it's like, man, I mean, we could see his prices appreciate big time and just continue to kind of slow. Like I wouldn't feel pressured at all to liquidate my Jalen Hurts. Not like I would with like Zach Wilson, per se,
No, I agree. Yeah, if you're not in any hurry, I don't think that we've hit the ceiling even remotely close. I think that even with Burrow, I mean, he's leader of the pack right now, but I do think that all three of those guys continue to go up.
Halo says, just picked up a PSA 10 Jordan Love and a Derek Carr rookie auto, trying to be prepared when news breaks on either of them. Super smart move by Halo's finest. I love it. So I do have Derek Carr pulled up, and what I did was, because Derek Carr's a 2014 rookie, and it's not fair to compare him to Teddy Bridgewater, right? Maybe you could compare Derek Carr to Devontae Adams, but I would say that Devontae Adams is probably going to be more expensive than Carr right now. So I'm actually looking at comparing. I typed in 3 guys, and it's not even fair but what this shows is how many more rookie cards they have for a 2020 rookie than there is for a 2014 and a 2005 rookie quarterback. So I've got Love, Carr, and Rodgers pulled up here on the same graded screen, looking at their sold volume over the past 30 days. And so you can see where that Love is at, the trend around $80. Like people are buying into Love with the anticipation that Rodgers is going to make a move here.
It's interesting you mentioned that, and we kind of touched on it last week too. I think that ease of access to certain players, does increase interest. For example, Derek Carr, though being older, has fewer rookie cards, and most collectors have been collecting since the boom in 2020. So they've seen or they own some of Jordan Love cards already, giving them, ease of access and maybe enticing them to buy more of a player that they've seen and watched for the last 2 years, or hypothetically watched for the last 2 years. But I think that him and Carr are good buys still, but that window might be closing soon. I think we're going to see some news on both of those guys probably not too long after the Super Bowl at this point.
Yeah, I think the likeliest scenario is for the Raiders to release Carr within 3 days after the Super Bowl so they don't have to pay him that $40 million, at which point he's going to be actively pursuing teams, and there's going to be somewhat of a bidding war. But I do think we'll have resolution. And then also, the reports that Aaron Rodgers he's going to announce what his intentions are before the free agency cycle starts. I want to say that's March 15th is when that date starts. So, and Jordan Love's got so many more rookie cards than these guys that you can see his graded cards are just all over the top sold chart here with the Aaron Rodgers base tops. That's a 3,055 PSA 10, believe it or not. 3,461 PSA 9. So about a 40 to 45% gem rate on that card, which is really good. Like overall, the 9 to 10 rate compared to the 8 rate, really solid for a card from 2005. And that is his flagship. That is his flagship card. What's interesting, if I drop this down and go to PSA 9, you're going to see an interesting change there. When I drop it down to most sold PSA 9s in the past 30 days, now all of a sudden we see the Aaron Rodgers Upper Deck Premier pop up here. And then we also see the Topps Chrome. And I know that people love this Topps Chrome from 2005. It's a thick cardstock, got that chrome finish. It's the same picture in all of them. I'd love to hear from you guys which design you guys like best. Steve, which one do you like best out of the base tops, the Upper Deck, and the Topps Chrome for Rodgers?
People complain about it being a practice uniform. I think old Topps Chrome is just so nice. I can't wait till it comes back because it's inevitable at this point. But I do like the Rodgers Topps Chrome. I'd love to get my hands on one of those. There's
also the Bowman, the base Bowman right there from 2015 or 2005. And that's a pretty nice card. And so you can see, check it out. Sunday, February 5th, I buy it now for $100. That's a considerable reach over the previous auction sold of 61, 77. And that's why we typically advocate. And that's why we, do this stream where we try and find live auctions that are at value compared to what they sell for and to buy it now.
What's the disparity between 10s and 9s on that Bowman? I bet it's pretty high if I had to guess.
On the Bowman? Yeah, it's probably pretty high. Let's check that out. So only 175 10s.
Those are really fragile paper cards, man.
Really fragile. 477 8s. So your chances of getting an 8 or a 9 are really high.
And you can really tell when you look at the price between a 9 and a 10, when the gap is that big, it's usually a giveaway that there's not many 10s.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. That is crazy. But that just goes to show you that people are already suspect. They're trying to capture the new spike. I mean, even the Topps Chrome here, auction for $338, $325. Buy it now. That's this past Sunday, 5 days ago. And that's on the 9. You're right. Once again, look at the difference between the 295 8s, 725 9s, and 251 10s, and the price difference between those. Massive difference there in the auction.
The 52-week high on that one, I'd be all over that if I had a liquid $1,600 laying around. Yeah,
that market specifically is
$5,000.
And you got to ask yourself how back on April 17th, you got to ask yourself, is that inflated for Rodgers? So then you got to do you compare it to Drew Brees? Do you compare it to Tom Brady? What are you trying to compare it to at that point to say, hey, I got myself a deal here? Obviously, looking at this chart alone, you can see, 3,700, 34. They even had the $4,300 buy it now, $5,500 buy it now. So when I see this and I see it was Wednesday, April 16th, Sunday, April 17th, that must have been right around the news cycle for Rodgers returning to the Packers. You know, that's right before the draft.
Yeah, those are beautiful cards, man. And that's just the base, you know.
Yeah. And for Derek Carr, there's really not a whole lot graded. Like his Topps Chrome, 2014 Topps Chrome, super popular. Also probably has the highest grade report. Like I'm constantly looking at Mike Evans.
Wow.
You know, he's my PC guy. Devontae. You could look at Odell Beckham Jr. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, guys. He's a free agent, probably going to sign with somebody, talking to the Giants. They're devoid of wide receiver talent. He's a 2014 rookie as well. And he's a guy who, funny enough, has more social media followers than Tom freaking Brady. You know, so I mean, if likability is a factor, which it certainly is, just popularity in general is definitely a factor. The superstar factor. You know, Carter talks about this. Beast mode Carter right here, man, recovering still from his wedding. He had such a fun time, still recovering, man. We missed you this week, Carter. Hope you getting better there, brother. But yeah, man, such a factor. So I guess you could compare. You kind of have to compare the 2014 draft class in and of itself, then, don't you think, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing too. Is that there's two different things working for and against Carr, and that's one is that people are more intrigued by investing in younger guys, but the 2014 product is a little more scarce than the 2020. So you have like pros and cons on both. The thing that's interesting about Love, though, since we were talking about him, is he kind of fits into this reoccurring theme, at least from what we've seen in Green Bay, and that's a guy sitting behind a future Hall of Fame quarterback and then starting his third year and having a great career. So can they do it again, Andy? Can they do it again? Maybe. Possibly. I mean, I think that they need some receivers for sure, but I think it's very possible.
Yeah. If things line up, So here you have it. Here you have it, Steve. Check this out. The Davante Adams is selling for more than the Derek Carr. So this just goes to show you how the hobby has changed from being so focused on quarterbacks to being more focused on just good players. Like, I think we have more just overall football enthusiasts, fantasy football gamers, football fans that just respect and want to collect and want to invest and buy into good players and potential future Hall of Famers more so than trying to chase a little storyline. Now, it is fun to chase a storyline and get it right and then make double or triple your money on that news event, even though the guy is probably never going to make it to the Hall of Fame, right? I mean, like Derek Carr, his chances of making to the Hall of Fame, Steve, pretty slim, right? Don't you think?
Yeah, he'd have to make it to 2 Super Bowls in the next couple of years to have a chance, even probably.
Whereas Devontae, I gotta think he's already pretty close.
Yeah, I would say he's probably there already, but I think that he's got quite a few good seasons left in him yet, Andy.
And he's certainly a Packers Hall of Famer, and he's elite in his category. Like, I'm already one thing that's interesting, I'm already looking at the 2023 rankings, and in the 2023 rankings, Davante Adams is obviously a first round, like end of the first round wide receiver, but all of the first or the first round. So there's really only a couple running backs that you can put in the first round, and the rest of them are all wide receivers, is what I was trying to say. So it's like really next year I think is going to be very wide receiver heavy. So at this point, like, I think you can kind of look at the wide receivers in the same lens as a lot of quarterbacks.
It's interesting that it's a little different with quarterbacks, but you look at the price, raw price, or even the 10 price of some of these Devontae Adams or even Mike Evans from the same draft class. And some of the modern guys that are completely unproven fall within a reasonable price range of some of these guys that have potential Hall of Famers, or you could say are Hall of Famers already. And that kind of puts things into perspective. Now, for anyone that's in the hobby as far as baseball cards go, you know how ridiculous prospecting goes for young players, because you're looking at guys when they're in the minors already and they have cards printed in the pro uniform. With NFL, you're looking at their rookie cards and saying, like, I hope this guy makes it big, and you're paying a premium now more than ever to be holding that guy when he does what you want him to do. And that's definitely something that we'll be talking about maybe in like an off-season type episode on, and comparing and contrasting like risk reward on younger players.
Check out these price increases on Odell Beckham Jr., man. People are already anticipating him potentially signing with the team that drafted him, which I think would be huge for his rookie cards. It's almost a sole focus on his rookie cards. You know, I see such a big difference in the guys that are still on the team that drafted them. You know, it's just so much more nostalgic, and it has, I think, a lot more meaning to the Giants collectors, the Giants fans, and versus the guys like the Stephon Diggs, you know, that have changed teams. And it's just polarizing uniform differences. Or Christian McCaffrey. I could see a big demand for Christian McCaffrey San Francisco uniform cards, especially the rare ones. So, you know, talking serial number, autograph. And then you have the who was I just talking about? They're having a brain fart. Stephon Diggs and the Buffalo Bills uniforms, you know, those rare cards that have come out since 2021.
Andy, what's that one on the bottom right there?
This one?
Yeah. Ooh, that's nice, man.
It's tie-dyed prism autograph. Buy it now, $525. It is a PSA 10, so it's numbered out of 25. Only has a pop of 2.
I've never seen that one before. Now I know why.
Yeah, super rare, man. Super rare. So it's hard to you really have to compare across the draft class and just try and find something similar. Like if you can even find another one of those that's sold, period, then like you're in good shape. You
know, I do agree with what you said though about, you know, a player's rookie being on the team that they're still on. I think that does have a heavy weight. And I think Odell coming back would obviously create a spike in his rookie cards, but it would create an even greater spike if he were to return to the Giants, because that puts his rookie cards even more in a more relevant frame, because that's the team that he's now on again.
Hey, I appreciate that super chat from Carter. Keep up the good hustle, QuestCast Nation. Yeah, man. Appreciate all you guys. Carter. Yeah, man. You guys are awesome. I just tabbed over to the Sauce Gardner because he got a Defensive Rookie of the Year, brother. Defensive Rookie of the Year. And guess what? Garrett Wilson got Offensive Rookie of the Year. So the guy, that's why I put those guys on the thumbnail, because I'm like, okay, there's obviously a lot of hype for both Sauce and Garrett Wilson. Plus, we anticipate the Jets to make a splash this offseason in terms of acquiring a quarterback. Now, their offensive line was not good, but it also struggled with a lot of injuries. So it wasn't necessarily, you know, all the actual talent, right? Was when I was looking at it earlier, Mekhi Becton got hurt before the season even began. You know, Elijah Vera Tucker was arguably their best lineman, but he only played in just 7 games. So literally their best player was Connor McGovern, their center. So, you know, hopefully with a healthy offensive line and some investing here this offseason, they can kind of bolster that up. And I was like, with all the focus on Sauce and Garrett Wilson, like, what about Breece Hall? So I started comparing their XRCs because, you know, this is probably, we talked about this last week, Steve, and I know you agree with me, this is probably the best card to really compare between this draft class right now, this rookie draft class, the 2022 rookie draft class.
Though I actually had those two on my watch list. I've been looking for those too because I've noticed that they're going way below value what they were last year, and it's only because he got hurt towards the end of the season. So obviously there's that certain degree of uncertainty or fear that people have. And I actually linked it in the Discord. There was a SGC 10 Breece Hall, and it was $72 our best offer. I mean, that's a great price, and someone took a best offer price on it. So I don't know what they actually paid for it, but even at $72, I feel like that's not bad.
Yeah, man, you're always one step ahead, Steve. That's why you're such a valued member in the Discord, man, and a co-host here. That's why you're the eBay hitman, man. One step ahead, and you guys get access to the Discord over at patreon.com/footballcards as well as the app. And no, I was looking at the per touch efficiency metrics for Breece Hall this past year. And before, just like if you look at his per touch, so this kind of factors out him missing the majority of the season and getting hurt, tearing the ACL, which he will be back. He's already a first-round fantasy running back, projected to be a first-round fantasy running back because he ranked number 3rd best running back in true yards per carry, number 1 running back in yards per touch, and number 1 in juke rate, which is evaded tackles per touch, breakaway run rate. So in the amount of carries he did take, he was number 2 best running back in 11.3% breakaway run rate. Absolutely insane efficiency, and he was developing a bell cow role. He was getting targeted. He was getting the lion's share of the carries, and he was just so efficient with each time he touched the ball. So that's why I think he's going to be a guy that a lot of people get really excited about in September when he gets back on the field. And maybe he's not 100% fully the same in 2023, but I think there's a good high likelihood because it wasn't a bad ACL tear like we saw what happened to J.K. Dobbins or Saquon Barkley, where it kind of took him an extra year. We saw it with J.K. Dobbins this year where he was good, but he wasn't 100%, So next year should be even better for those.
I agree.
For Dobbins.
He looked great at moments, but he even admitted that he was still hurting. So $26, Andy, I saw a few of those go for. Now, here's the thing. If you wouldn't mind checking for cross-reference, I think that there should be a price similarity between those and the Jonathan Taylor XRCs. I put those guys in the same, skill level, basically. And even though Jonathan Taylor had a down year, I would be willing to bet the Taylors are still going for more than the Breece Halls. In my opinion, they shouldn't be.
Well, guess what, dude? It's funny that you say that because according to playerprofiler.com, Breece Hall's athletic profile is best comparable to Jonathan Taylor. And we know that in terms of if you go back and look at Jonathan Taylor's efficiency going back to 2021, I mean, he was elite. He was number 1 across those categories. And this past year, down year. But in terms of the role and his usage was fine, factoring out the injuries. So he still had a 70% snap share. He still had a 56% route participation. So he was still on running a lot of routes. It's just that entire Colts offense was anemic. It was poorly run. They had efficiency issues across the board. And then on top of it, he struggled with injuries and only played in 11 games. I still put up 861 rushing yards and 143 receiving yards. So if you were to compare his receptions last year to 2021 where he played a full season and 2020 where he played a full season, he would have surpassed his receptions this past year. So we'll see who the Colts bring in at quarterback and play caller and everything for 2023. But I think it's promising that his role grows and he's still the same explosive Jonathan Taylor that we drafted in the first round of fantasy drafts last year. I think he once again goes in the first round. I think there's going to be a lot of people that probably take him number 1 overall, though it's going to be hard to pass up on Austin Eckler and Christian McCaffrey for him. But I think those guys have kind of firmly supplanted themselves as the number 1 and 2 running back right now, but we'll see, right? And then I think Justin Jefferson's probably going to go number 1 overall, right?
Yeah, I think so. And here's the thing: is I think that even though he vastly outperformed Jamar Chase, I think just on hype alone, he won't be too far ahead of him as far as the draft board goes.
What do you think about Cooper Kupp? Would you rather have Cooper Kupp? Now let's talk about seasonal. So let's take this upcoming season into scope and ask: would you rather have Cooper Kupp or Jamar Chase?
Cooper Kupp.
Kupp. Okay.
Easy.
PFF has him ranked 1 spot ahead of Jamar Chase. In terms of rookie cards, would you rather have a Cooper Kupp optic autograph or the Jamar Chase optic autograph?
Man, might have a little Cincy bias on that one, but I don't know. I'd probably rather have the Kupp, honestly. I mean, here's the thing: is if Kupp can continue where he left off pre-injury, I mean, he's put himself on a pace to be one of the best receivers of all time if he can keep that up. Obviously, he's getting locked on and fed, but you know what? When it comes to stats, no one really looks at that,
Yeah.
But his metrics warrant feeding him that often. It's not like they're just throwing him the ball and he's getting 2-3 yards a catch. Like, he's an incredible receiver. He's an incredible route runner. He's durable. This is, the first major injury he's had. I think that if he stays healthy this year, I think he's the consensus number 1 by the end of the year.
He's super dominant. I mean, he literally was the heart and soul that that offense before him and Matt Stafford got injured last season, right?
Speaking of that, speaking of Cooper Kupp, this is probably a really good time to try to find you a nice, rare, higher-end Cooper Kupp card, because once he comes back and starts smashing the record books again, it's going to be a little too late.
I think they should be hungry again in 2023, man. They've just got humiliated this past season. To the point,
the Stafford injury was pretty much what killed them.
Yeah, there's a beauty. Look at that gold optic. It looks like that. No, it's bronze. That's straight bronze, but sealed by Panini there. Sold. Whew, man. Those rare cards are still pretty expensive.
Yeah, no, like a Prism or Optic Auto. I would love to have me one. I'd love to have 2, Andy. 1 to flip and 1 to hang on my wall.
Yeah, there you go. I think that it's going to be up in the air. I think there's always this when it comes to fantasy football and like drafting players, which is a direct correlation before the season on. In expectations of a player's performance, which drives card values. And so we always see people a little more hesitant to draft players that were injured. But that's not everybody. There's a lot of people that understand it's impossible to predict injuries and that players bounce back. Like if you're not diversifying and investing in some players that have been injured this year, you could be losing out. You could be missing out big time on opportunity. But his values are holding pretty strong here, Steve. I mean, he definitely made a massive statement over the past 2 seasons.
Yeah, and I mean, I get it. You could say he's 30. We're not talking about dynasty here. We're talking about card values. So, I think that it's a good buy right now. And I think if you looked at the year prior, you'd see that it was quite a bit higher than it is right now.
All right. Now, what about Stephon Diggs or Tyreek Hill?
As far as a card investment goes,
Yeah, I would say first fantasy football. So I'm guessing these guys will go to the middle to the end of the first round, like second half of the first round.
I would take Hill in both cases.
Really? If now is this assuming that Tua is going to be his quarterback, or is he just quarterback proof in the Mike McDaniel system? He's just going to get ton of volume, regardless of who's behind center, even maybe some touches.
I think with Tua as his quarterback. I mean, as long as it's not what was that cat's name that was the QB in the playoffs, that rookie?
Skylar Thompson?
Yeah, as long as it's not Skylar Thompson, I'm sticking with Tyreek.
Total diss for Skylar, but he's got to grow in the NFL. He's got a long ways to go. He ain't no Brock Purdy. He ain't no Brock Purdy, baby.
No, it's no disrespect to the man. It's just we're just looking for true facts and outcomes.
Yeah, true that. So are you expecting some regression from Stephon Diggs in the Buffalo Bills in 2023? Or is it just, because Tyreek he's a year younger. Obviously, he's faster, but Diggs is just such an elite route runner and separator and point of catch specialist, man. Do you expect some regression from the Bills?
A little bit. No, I expect a little bit. And I think that we talked about this last week. I think they may force the issue and actually try to learn how to run the ball, like have a balanced offensive playbook instead of just passing 62 times a game. Like, it seems to work for them, but they have a pretty good running back now. And I think they either draft one or sign a free agent. And then you don't have to rely on Josh Allen to make as many plays. He can be just as efficient throwing the ball less, as long as the quality of play is better, But I like Tyreek. I think that there's a reason Pro Football Focus has him as the number one receiver in the league.
Yeah. Now what about this one? This one's gonna pull at your heartstrings a little bit, but this guy absolutely balled out towards the second half of the season, became their alpha. People wonder if he was going to step up. He really did. CeeDee Lamb really did step up for the Cowboys. Are you going CeeDee Lamb or Amon-Ra St. Brown?
Ooh, man. Here's the thing: is a lot of people think that that's too crowded in Detroit, and that Amon-Ra is going to regress into like a secondary or tertiary role on that team. I don't really see that happening. But honestly, I think that Amon-Ra is at or even slightly better than CeeDee Lamb. As far as actual output goes, I'd put him just about dead even, realistically. The thing is, though, is that what happens with that not the Lions offense, but the Cowboys offense, Dak, seems to play really good and then just takes a dump in the playoffs, the further they get along. So, but CD, I think, is still growing as far as how good he is, because people were already starting to write him off, and he started really playing well towards the end. And I think that he's not as good as Jamar Chase. He's not as good as Tyreek Hill, but he's top 10, top 8.
Yeah. They moved him to the slot. He took a lot of his snaps out of the slot, almost a 50% rate, and ended up with the 4th most targets in the NFL this past season, 9th most deep targets, 29 deep targets, almost 1.5 deep targets per game. And then in terms of like touchdowns, he had 9 touchdowns, so that was 4th most. And if you look at his efficiency in terms of like his juke rate, so his evaded tackles per touch, 11%, which was 8th best amongst wide receivers. And then his win rate versus man, which is something important to look at, basically like his separation versus man coverage and how often he caught the ball against man coverage, 7th best against man coverage, 7th best wide receiver in the league. Route win rate, number 9, 50% route win rate. So some solid advanced metrics on CD this year. And now let's look at Amon-Ra, because this guy was just an absolute monster in terms of.
You know, it's interesting, Andy. Their stats are very, very similar. But
Yeah,
Amon-Ra did miss a couple games, and he actually played hurt through some of them. I can't recall if CD was injured or not, but
he did. Or I don't. Yeah, if CD was, it must have been very minor, if not missing any games at all. But he did have to play with like Cooper Rush for a decent portion of the season. But you're right, they're very similar because Amon-Ra St. Brown runs a lot of his snaps out of the slot, and that's why I asked you between those two guys specifically, because they do have a similar role. And Amon-Ra's probably got the better target competition, right? And DJ Chark, and even though Jameson Williams didn't come on until late, DJ Chark was still there for most of the season, and it spread the ball. They spread the ball around a lot there, man. But he had the third best target rate in the NFL, 32% target rate. So he had 146 total targets. So right there with CD. He was number 5 in receptions with 106 receptions. He had the number 7th best juke rate, evaded tackles per touch. So
I think it's
there,
funny.
A little bit better than CD.
I think it's funny though, Andy, and you could see the chat calling it 4th round biased or saying CD, but the numbers don't lie. Put some respect on the man's name. He was drafted in the 4th round. I get it, but his production speaks for itself.
Yeah, his production speaks for itself. His route win rate was the number one, was the best wide receiver in the NFL this past year. 56% route win rate. So his win rate versus man, number 7. And his, like, dude, I mean, his EPA, 5th best. I mean, it's just insane how good this guy was. And he only had 5 drops, which is number 29. So, yeah, I mean, really good. I think he's a mainstay. He's 4th best wide receiver in yards after the catch as well. 513 yards after the catch. Yak monster as well. So you got a guy running that many slot snaps, getting that many targets, you know, putting up over 1,000 receiving yards and getting that many yards after the catch while playing, like missing a game, playing hurt another game. So I think in total, he missed 2 games and played hurt, like not 100% at all, where he barely got targeted at all in the third
Didn't he
game.
get concussed and like come back in the game, one of them? I remember that.
Yeah. So, and you have an elite offensive line in Detroit. I think they're going to stick with Jared Goff for another year. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what they do in the draft this year, but I like this play. I'm not even seeing Amon-Ra St. Brown, and maybe this goes to his pop report. Maybe he just doesn't have nearly as many graded cards compared to CD being a 2020 rookie on the Cowboys, you know, with that Jerry Rice comparable profile and everything coming out of college.
You know, one thing is the hobby definitely appreciates both of these guys, but if you've tried to pick up any Amon-Ra cards, like the hobby is showing respect, and his stuff is not cheap. It's not. I've definitely tried to pick some of his medium to higher end stuff up, and it gets up there, man. So I mean, you can probably find some base rookie ticket autos at a reasonable price, but you know, they were going for like, you know, $30-$40 at the beginning of the year last year, and I think they're ending up around like, you know, 50-60 on the base now. I think that's still leaves you a lot of room to grow. Look at that there, though. That's just a regular extra points prestige auto.
Yeah, those are really good values, man. Look at that.
Ooh.
Napkin patch out of 149, $45. That's no joke for a sticker auto from a lesser desirable brand like Phoenix. Speaking of which, actually, let me pop over here. We've got the new release date for Phoenix, which is scheduled to be released on 3/3. So we've got some release dates for some new 2022 products. And I wanted to take a look at the artist proofs with you here live, Steve.
Ooh, that Burrow's looking nice.
Yeah. Check that out, man.
I'm going to say that Contours is a case hit at this point. It looks like it's a case hit.
Brand new to Phoenix, Contours utilized a unique design to make an iconic card of some of the Gridiron's biggest stars. Find H2 exclusive silver laser parallels in H2 boxes.
Okay. Interesting.
So are you digging the design here?
I've always liked Phoenix. I thought that sets like Phoenix, Spectra, Mosaic don't get enough love. But I sent you that chart recently with the Jalen Hurts sales, and Mosaic was actually the most purchased in a PSA 10 slab for Hurts.
Yeah. Isn't that something? Like, I think from when I polled everybody in the live stream I did Tuesday and the comments, it seems that there has been a lot of distaste for Select. Like, Select has been pushed down totem pole. Mosaic is now being desired a little bit more. That's what I gathered. Mosaic is a little bit more popular these days.
And it's interesting though, because you have two different varying opinions in the trading card hobby. You have the segment that really wants to see traditional design on cards, right? And that's what the appeal is for them. And then you have the other that says that, hey, that's a boring look. I've been seeing that since the 50s, 60s, 70s. I want to see something new, something exciting. That's what leads people to liking Spectra, that makes them like, the disco prisms and stuff like that. It's a lot of versatility and flashiness that you didn't have in the older designs.
Check it out, man. 2022 Prism scheduled to be released March 15th.
12 days after Phoenix. So, man, don't buy Phoenix until after the 15th.
It's already out of stock, which we probably expected that, but this is also going to be released in a retail. Phoenix should also go into retail as well. They typically will release it like on Fanatics and stuff, and maybe it's just the full sets. Maybe it's just the full sets, like the base sets that you can buy in retail configuration. But I know Phoenix goes into retail in a format. It may not be blaster boxes and hanger boxes, stuff like that, like Prism, but it is going to go into retail in some kind of format. All right.
Interesting.
You ready? There you go, man.
Okay.
Let's open it in a new tab. See if we can get a little better look for you.
Interesting. I feel like there's a lot of border. What do you think?
A lot of border, man. That's gonna make it a bear on centering. We'll see what kind of defects we get out of the pack on these guys.
Yeah, with there being that much border, I'm scared if it's anything like this last year's Prism. You might see some very excessive border disparity.
Oh,
okay. Now that's what I'm talking about right there.
They're bringing back. You know where they got this from, man. They did it with contenders and rookie ticket autos, bringing back the retro, and I guarantee you they saw that was popular, was doing well. People love it. Look at this, man. They're bringing back the 2012 design. It's 2012 design, right? Or 2013. It's 2012 or 13 design.
No, that's nice with the little dimples on it.
That's the 2012 design, man. They're bringing that back. New in 2022. Celebrate the 10th year anniversary of this iconic product with Prism flashback prisms, which features today's brightest stars on the beloved 2012 design.
That's gonna be expensive.
Super expensive.
And it's hobby only too.
Yeah, hobby. Yeah, you get 2 autographs per box. You basically get 144 cards, and you get 2 autographs per box. They even got the mangas, got the color blast. Can't leave anything out. Added these new profiles, short print profiles. That's interesting.
Can't go wrong with the color blast. I feel like that's automatic. Everyone's going to be looking for those.
Yeah, a color blast, really cool card. The mangas, case hits, backed by popular demand. Got these new short print profiles, which is kind of like a, I don't know, it's kind of like a stained glass, but with the illusions background. It's super serious Mahomes picture there, but depending on how rare it is, I think it'll do okay.
Like how he might be looking on Sunday at the end of the game there.
Oh. Speaking of which, so check out, guys, check out the Card Shop Live We have a link in the description below, our affiliate link. Use our affiliate link when you sign up to get a small credit in your account. You actually have to input your payment information, like if you plan to get into a break or anything like that. I just pulled up like over here on their website. They are the ultimate live streaming shopping experience for box breaks and singles, guys. Check out the Card Shop Live. They've got a 4-box Super Bowl mixer from Geo's Breaks. These guys are founded from Sports Card Nonsense and Geo's Breaks. So check it out, guy. Look at that. I mean, one time 2020 Contenders Optic, Panini 1, 2022 Illusions, and $100, 20 spots remaining. You get random teams, blah, blah. So check that out, guys. And then over here on Underdog, Steve, they've got a special this weekend for the Super Bowl of 0.5 total yards. 0.5 total yards in the pick'ems. If you guys aren't familiar with this, we've been running this a lot this season. Been having a blast. Got a couple of them right. Not a lot because we always go for the 5 picks. We parlay 5 picks together to try and 20x our money. It's a little difficult, but with the 0.5 yards on Jalen Hurts special, you can only use this one time. So if you're new, you sign up with promo code QUEST. That gets you a 100% instant deposit bonus up to $100. So you can literally double your money instantly. No slow drip. No, you got to play this and that to get your money. No, you instantly get it. So definitely want to take advantage of that promo code QUEST. And then you can do the pick'ems and go ahead and get this Jalen Hurts over 0.5 total yards.
That's a nice freebie. But yeah, just keep in mind you can only use it one time. So make it be your most confident sheet if you're doing multiple submissions.
Yeah.
Take advantage of the free selection.
What about Patrick Mahomes throwing an interception? That elite, it's the number 1 passing defense in the NFL. The Philadelphia Eagles.
I could see it happening.
Could see it happen. I could also see him throwing for over 2.5 tutties. But man, that 0.5 interceptions is juicy. With Darius Slay and James Bradbury, Avonte Maddox is going to be playing their nickel corner. Man, this is C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who just destroyed the interception this year. I'm going to go for the Patrick Mahomes interception.
I like it.
I also like the Isaiah Pacheco. I think they've got to try and attack Philly on the ground as well, establish a run game, because you also have a fierce Philadelphia defensive line that's very dense. You got Hassan Reddick and Ndamukong Suh and stuff, and these guys are hungry, dude. These guys are super hungry. They almost broke the single season sack record, and you do have a very good Chiefs offensive line, but in order to help neutralize and offset some of that pressure, they're gonna have to run with Isaiah Pacheco. So I like the Isaiah Pacheco rushing yards, 49.5, maybe 11.5 rushing attempts. That's not that bad. I could see them, potentially getting, if they did get up to a lead, man, I could see them trying to run the ball and control the clock here.
Now, what do you think? I know that we haven't seen much of them during the year, but I mean, they've been letting Ronald Jones run the ball lately. Plus, Edwards-Helaire just got activated from IR.
You're right. That's
I'm a
true.
little bit iffy on Chiefs running backs. I would say the McKinnon under on the total yardage might be more favorable. He's been used very scarcely, and the times he has gotten the ball has been for like very few yards, negative yards even the past few games.
Yeah, I like that. I got to look for sure more lowers, some more unders, because you're right, man. He is their best pass pro running back. He's their best pass pro running back. He's got the most experience in that category, and he provides the best pass blocking out of the running backs. And that I do think Philadelphia Eagles are going to put more resources on Travis Kelce. It's going to be easier for them to cover. They probably get real creative. And, this is the Andy Reid Bowl. And Andy Reid, one of the best play callers to ever do it. And Travis Kelce, the best tight end to ever do it. So I think, though, with the elite talent the Eagles have on defense, they are going to dedicate more resources to Kelsey here. I do like the lower on McKinnon. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. We got 2 picks left. We already got the Jalen Hurts special, but we do have the Miles Sanders, Kenneth Gainwell came on late, got the Boston.
I like that 35.5 over rushing and receiving for Gainwell. That seems really low. And he's been coming on as the playoffs go on.
Yeah, they definitely, because Chiefs are going to throw the ball and they can put up points in a hurry. And they definitely like to lead with Miles Sanders, but it definitely seems that if they were to get up to any kind of a lead, they would definitely try and just lean on their run game, lean on that RPO run game where it's just like they're going to gash you for 5-10 yards. Gainwell kind of, man. I like Gainwell. He takes great care of the ball. He's got great ball skills. He's got a nice juke rate. He's also got really good receiving ability. At 35.5 is pretty low too. It's kind of thin, but I kind of like it, man.
Maybe take one more under to wrap it up on something.
We got 72.5 on AJ Brown and 64.5 on Devonta Smith. I mean, obviously, if we would have taken the AJ Brown under last week or in the championship game, would have got it. Probably would have got it the last couple weeks on AJ Brown. He's been really quiet. I hate to take it again though, because this could be the game where he really.
I'm not opposed to it. I feel like they've been stretching the field out with Devonta Smith more.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I got a feeling that AJ Brown's going to be featured a bit more in this game.
What do we got for Dallas Goedert and company? What do we got there?
I feel good about going over on any of these Philly. This one's too fragile for Quez. Boston Scott's too fragile. I think you could go over on that. Field goals, got 1.5 Jake Elliott.
What
field
about the
goals.
yardage for Devonta?
The yardage for Devonta, I mean, this could be realized in 2 catches. This could be realized in 1 catch.
I feel like he's only gotten better as the season's going on. KC defense isn't exactly lighting the world on fire.
It's him. It's Dallas Goedert. It's AJ Brown. I could see it's going to be a combination of these 3 guys that go over. I like Dallas Goedert if KC is getting home to Hurts and putting a lot of pressure on him. Chris Jones. I like him. I like him potentially having to lean on Goddard a lot. Him and Goddard have a lot of chemistry in those high pressure situations, against a difficult defense. So I could see him, putting some passes out to Goddard, even more so than AJ Brown, short and intermediate. I just haven't seen the connection with him and AJ Brown in the last couple games, but this could be the game where he goes ham,
You want to do Goddard receptions?
I like Goddard receptions. So they all have 5 receptions. I like Goddard receptions or receiving yards, 48.5. I think that's pretty fair too. Man, they have a lot of rivals. You could do rivals in here too. You can do rivals. I mean, look, he's gotten 5. Look at that. Yeah. Yeah. I say we go higher on Dallas Goedert.
Defenses.
For all the marbles, Steve, right there.
Juicy.
Juice it. This is gonna pay for my best ball entries here in the off season. We're gonna do a $25 ticket here, guys. We're doing a $25 ticket. So if we get all 5 of these right, we get $500 once the game's over. No insurance. Go big or go home, baby.
I like it.
The maximum entry amount for 5 selections is $20. Oh, okay. It gapped you.
Oh,
It
is it
gapped you
because
out.
of the? Is it because of
I
the
wonder if that's
freebies?
because of the special. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
no,
may
I
be
think
because of
so.
the special. Because I've done one for a bit higher than that before. All right,
I like it, man. I like it.
there we go. We're in. So there you go. Yeah, check that out. Underdogfantasy.com. Promo code Quest gets you that instant 100% deposit bonus. And then you got free money. You can feel good about putting in a $20 5-leg parlay ticket as well.
And even if you're just doing it for a little bit of fun, man, throw a buck at it. Do a 5-legger, man. Win you some $20.
Yeah. And then the last thing I wanted to share. So I've got another play. I think we've talked about this before, but I wanted to share it with this image right here. Let me pull this image up because this is pretty interesting. So I'm going to pull 2 images up here. 1 image and 2 images. This is going to set you guys up for the off season here. All right. Every team's effective cap space in 2023 and draft capital. So if you look at this XY diagram here, is basically this quadrant diagram. You can see that over here in this right quadrant are teams that have a lot of money to spend and a lot of draft capital. If you have both of those, that's really good for building around what you already have on the team. Look at the Chicago Bears right here, Steve. Check that out, man. Got that #1 overall pick. You guys also have, so if you look at this, don't need to worry, but not as much wiggle room. So this is cap space and how much money that you can restructure. Your team doesn't really need to worry about restructuring, but they also don't have as much wiggle room. So they're way over here. Restructurable cap space, not much, but at the same time, there's not much need to worry. And you guys have all of this cap space and draft capital. So
by a lot, yeah.
Build around Fields. Justin Fields.
I don't know, Andy,
good,
if
man.
you've seen the rumors on Barstool. There's a couple QB rumors on Barstool. I don't know how valid they are, but there's a couple rumors pertaining to the Vikings and Bears. Have you seen these rumors, Andy?
No, I have not. Enlighten me.
So the first is the Vikings trading Cousins to the 49ers. And then the other is the Bears moving Fields to the Vikings and taking a quarterback.
Wait, holy crap. That would be crazy.
Yeah,
You know,
I don't even know how to feel about it, honestly. I don't know how to feel about it.
well, I tell you what, man. Kirk Cousins' rookie card values might go up. Just from.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, I mean the Niners, as far as the market goes, is massive compared to Minnesota.
Massive. That would be massive. And the color schemes a lot more similar to the Redskins from his rookie cards.
That's true. I mean, you'd see Kirkle Mania, 3.0 happen here with his new team.
They'd be going nuts, man. So yeah, I think the Bears jump out of this. Obviously, the Texans and jury's still up. I still think they're going to draft Bryce Young or CJ Stroud or somebody like that. Bryce Young, I feel like makes the most sense. You want Davis Mills to get another shot. I'd like to look at the Seahawks, man. Dude, shout out to Pete Carroll, man. Doing a great job up there in Seattle. They're in a good spot, man. They're in a good spot. They just made the playoffs, too.
Texans need a line and another good receiver like nobody's business. But, I mean, we know how the NFL operates. Most teams are going to dive nose first and take a quarterback, even if they have other needs first. So that's just how the league operates.
Patriots in a good spot. The Saints are way down here. However, if you look at this, the Saints have almost $150 million that they can free up if they restructure veteran contracts. So I think that Saints like get themselves in the spot every year, and then they do all this restructuring. And look at the Bucks. I mean, the Bucks are in the same similar situation. That's why it's kind of like, man, Saints and Bucks are kind of like in this rebuild mode. Like they should just, I mean, I would like to see them just go ahead and commit to a full rebuild now that Brady's retired. Like I'm already braced for just next 3 years of purgatory with my team. So
I don't think it's happening just yet. There's still a really good team that just had offensive line injuries and a coach that thought he was a coach but wasn't. And I think that with a good start, with a good head coach, I think they're still fine. Yeah, unless Trask really, craps the bed, basically.
Yeah, you got the Panthers in cap hell, got the Packers in cap hell. So you got the Titans up here need to make moves, need to restructure contracts. I like where the Jags are kind of at on both of these, man.
Did you see the rumors coming out of the Chargers camp?
No. What rumors coming out of Chargers? Is this from Barstool again?
Everett and Keenan Allen, man.
What's the rumors from?
Talking about releasing Gerald Everett and Keenan Allen to make some space. I think that would be a massive mistake, though. At least Keenan Allen. I mean, he's the centerpiece of their receiving game.
I'd be shocked if they release Keenan Allen. Although he did miss most of this past season with the worst hamstring pull ever.
He's literally been their receiver for his whole career. I think it would be kind of a slap in the face. But if you look at Herbert's numbers too, they weren't the same when he was out.
No, not at all, man. He was a big difference. He was a big difference in getting that run game going. So I was like hunting for Justin Fields. Oh, once again, man, I want to hunt for this guy. I think they find a way, some wide receiver talent, like get him a true alpha possession style receiver, whether it's through the draft. Maybe they go big on a guy in the draft, like Jackson Smith, Najigba, or one of these other guys in the draft.
There's some wide receiver rumors for the Bears. And that's DeAndre Hopkins and T. Higgins, man.
DeAndre Hopkins makes a lot of sense. I mean, he is an awesome possession style receiver, still played at a very high level this past second half of the season when he did play. I like that, man. Like that a lot.
I think that's a more likely scenario than T. Higgins, but it's, they may choose to hang on to T. Higgins another season and try to make one last Super Bowl push. But once his contract runs out, they won't probably be able to re-sign him again. So,
is this a jersey match? There's a lot of stuff in it too.
Justin Fields, especially his graded stuff, man, has been selling like crazy. I think people are very aware that the Bears have tons of money to throw around.
Yeah, pretty impressed by that base select. I mean, base select premier, but PSA 10. And let's see what this goes for in 5 minutes. But man, it's already that card raw will probably end for like 99 cents, and then you got a 9.5 optic.
I don't know about 99 cents, but yeah, no, even his select die cut stuff that's not serial numbered has been selling for quite a bit, especially in the slabbed format. What's that? Is that an XR? It's a nice color match, that XR. I don't know. It's nothing special, but it's numbered.
Yeah.
Not bad. Not bad. I know a lot of people want to stick to the main couple sets, but there's opportunities in just about every set there. I know Jets was mentioned in the Dynagons earlier, Andy. I know you're big into those. I'm big into those too. They definitely don't get the love, but there are other fans of that set out there just like us. So I wouldn't say don't buy them. I would say try to find them and hold on to them. Wait for the guy to get hot.
Yeah,
Oh,
I like that. I like
man.
that big time.
See, there was that pink prism was really nice, but they had the starting bid at 175. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's ridiculous,
That's
man.
no. That's a no.
Ridiculous.
Okay. There's an orange disco coming up, I saw. That's okay. That's nicely centered. The price is pretty good on that.
Prices, yeah, not bad on that, man. 12 bids, 38 minutes. Let me go pull up Justin Fields in the app.
I saw one that's ending soon, Andy, and I had recently acquired that exact card. Ends in 8 minutes.
Oh, you have?
I have. It's the optic preview. Right there.
Very nice, sir.
Yeah. I'm a huge optic preview fan. I'm a huge XRC fan. I mean, any rated rookie, realistically. I think optic, we talked about it last year. Optic, I like better than Prism. And I think that the hobby is starting to come around to this as well.
There's a disco. Let's see if they have like a SGC 9 over the past year. About $50. So, yeah, I mean, PSA 9, $50. Okay. So when I see the 9s going for about 50, 55, best offer 50, 60, then and look at the pop report, a
I've seen the
204,
raws going for almost that same amount too.
222. Well, we got ourselves a deal, man. We found ourselves a snipe. Depending on what it ends for. Still 36 minutes left, but it's definitely one for you guys to flag right there.
I like it, man. And you know what? I think more than likely he stays here, but even if he did get moved, he'd have some extra hype. Can you imagine him throwing the ball to Justin Jefferson? You'd have
buddy.
You'd have some serious Jeff Wilson. Trask, man. I like Trask. I don't know if he's the next man up officially, but unofficially he is.
Yeah, unofficially he is because he's the only quarterback under contract right now for the Bucs. But they could very easily just re-sign Blaine Gabbert to another year and put him to a quarterback competition.
Rookie. I like it.
You like the retro? I do too, man.
Those,
I gotta probably get some more Trask cards in case he is a starter. I mean, they're still pretty cheap, you know. They've gone up a little bit, but they're still pretty cheap.
Get you, you have the option to get so many red or orange parallels with these Prism sets and optic sets that makes it easy for a Buccaneers fan to get a nice color match.
Wonder what I could get me an auto for. Dang, look at that. Rookie of the Year gold out of 10. PSA 8 for 160.
I'd be curious to see what the base rookie ticket auto is going for. Wow, out of 25. That's
pretty sick.
That's a good buy, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, his prices are still very favorable. I don't think they would spike until actual official news is released because he just doesn't. He's not, super athletic, and he doesn't. I mean, I think there's just a lot of questions. Like, he doesn't have the sample size to tell us that he's going to be good. And
but what's interesting though is I knew a lot of Rodgers fans when he got the starting job that were like, "We're doomed, man. We're doomed. Favre's gone. We're doomed." And I'm like, "Hold on, this guy's good." And this is coming from not a Packers fan. And they had no faith in the guy whatsoever. And I thought he was going to be better than Favre. Turns out he was better than Favre. Now, I'm not saying Trask is going to be better than Brady, not even close, but I don't necessarily think Trask is bad. he definitely needed a little more time from when he came into the league. Who knows, what he picked up since since the last time we saw him. What did we see him in, like a couple quarters of the preseason? That's not enough to know how good he really is.
That seems pretty good for a 10-10.
Yeah. No, for sure.
I mean, a 10-10, that should be at least a triple-digit card. I mean, these cards are sick, but they just started them off way too high. Like, nobody's going to buy that. If they started at 99 cents, they would have got what they wanted, but it would have sold. They probably would have got.
Nice.
I know. It's like, man, I wish they would have started that at 99 cents.
Oh, right there,
I'd been
Andy.
all over that.
The bronze. That's calling your name.
The bronze.
That's the bronze.
I do like it, man.
I like
it's
it.
Nice.
Appears to be centered pretty well.
You see how the rated rookie is that a little bit of a misprint?
It could be slightly misstamped. I'd have to see it a little closer.
Misstamped.
It could be.
The other thing I'm looking for is dimples. Dimples in the creases, like around the picture frame and around the optic. I'm not seeing too many dimples. I'm seeing one little dimple there next to the optic logo, just to the left of it.
You know what's interesting is I've watched videos where they sat down with like the guys that actually grade for SGC, and they will actually still give 10s out to cards that have dimples simply because it was par for the course for the print run to have dimples on a lot of the cards.
Interesting. Is that a little bit off center?
The way that the card is printed is on a diagonal, Andy, so you'll have to look at the bottom right of the blue and the top left of the blue. I think it's actually not off center. It maybe is 5% off center.
Yeah. The front looks really good, but yeah, it's maybe a touch.
Okay, that's
maybe a touch.
Too. And for $29.
Yeah, XR is just, man, not popular at all.
True, but it's red. It is red.
It is red. It does look pretty cool. But it's not.
There you go. Limited on-card auto.
I do like the limited. I just don't like that horizontal format.
That's true.
But I do like that out of 75, and I like the auto, and I like the price point too. I mean, that's a pretty good price point, man.
How do you feel about the rookies, the one you just went past? I actually really like those.
I think it looks pretty cool. Yeah, out of 99, I'll flag this one because I think $45. Like if it stays at 45, this actually might be a pretty decent one to get.
I feel like sometimes we get psychologically thrown off by the high starting bid prices, but I bet if that was, at 38, and you'd probably bid 45 to buy it, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I like the silver finish, the auto design's pretty
cool. It's a good
cool.
action pose. It's optic. If you look at other quarterbacks in the rookies with autos, non-serial numbered, even just the regular rookies optics, go for a lot. So I think that's a good pickup. I should probably get I don't have any auto Trasks in the pro uniform, but I have 2 in the Gators uniform. I might need to get those up.
The Spectras look badass, man. I'll tell you what. This is going to be such a chunky card too.
Ooh, that's nice.
It's going to be super thick.
I picked up, actually, it's sitting on my bed back there. I picked up a Spectra auto this week.
What's that? What is that little guy on your bed there? What is that?
Oh, that is the Cactuar defending my eBay packages from any possible sneaky fingers around here.
Here, watch out, man! I see Gabe Davis sneaking in the.
There's a valuable Cole Kmet auto on one of those packages there.
Nice.
Speaking of Gabe Davis, I know that Derek's going to love this conversation, but it's come out that he played through a high ankle sprain for a majority of the season. And I think that the deflation of his card values throughout the offseason presents a good buying opportunity. I'm not saying go out and overspend, but I do think that if he was in fact injured, that does make sense. Gabe Davis, Bill. I don't, but if you get me one, I'll promise to cuddle with it. Gabe Davis. Just for that, Derek, I'm buying a Gabe Davis. Next opportunity I get. I'm actively looking for a Gabe Davis optic.
Love it, man. Love it. Love it. Love it. So final score prediction for the Super Bowl before we get out of here.
I will say 41-35 Philly.
41-35. Whoo, buddy. So I might want to do a second slip tomorrow or something where it's like, Mahomes and some pass catchers and then Hurts and some more of those pass catchers in anticipation of this bad boy turning into a bit of a shootout. But I dig it.
Air raid. It's going to be an air raid. I have a feeling.
I'm going to go 24-28. 24-28 Philly.
More of a grind.
Yeah, I think Mahomes is going to throw that interception, man. It's going to be a little bit of a cat and mouse game, and it's going to come down to the wire.
I like it, man. Well, I'm excited. Andy. I know I got some Hurts cards lingering. I know you guys probably do too. So good luck on your eBay endeavors in the next 48 hours.
Yeah, man. You two guys, we're going to transition into our off-season mode next week. So appreciate you guys staying with us, man. It's been crazy for me at work this week. I was traveling earlier this week. And so it's just been a wild week, man, but I'm looking to get back into the groove of things and start working on off-season content. We got a lot of really cool like set building videos and targets videos and strategy leading up into the draft. And so we got a lot of fun content planned. Steve and I are going to be back every week, breaking it all down, answering questions. Let us know any feedback you want to drop in the chat. Check out everything we're doing at patreon.com/footballcards. Check out the Card Shop Live and check out Underdog Fantasy for some pick'ems. Their best ball leagues are going to start soon. So we're going to be on it. We're going to be all over everything, man.
I was just about to say, Andy, really looking forward to best ball again. I had some really good sheets out there that made it into the second cuts, if you will. And man, that was my first time doing best ball. I will be doing a lot more sheets this year, and I know we'll be doing a lot of them on the live streams as well. And I'm looking forward to some more, content, the type of content we weren't really able to do during the season. In regards to maybe some, vintage sets, maybe 90s players, stuff like that, and some other kind of coverage of those kind of things.
Oh, I love it, man. Let's break it down by draft class and pick out some of our favorite cards and sets by draft class and do some hunting there. And then we can go through the positional categories by draft class and stuff. That sounds like a lot of fun, man. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you enjoy the Super Bowl. Hope everybody out there enjoys the Super Bowl this weekend. And we will see you next week.
Good luck, everyone. See you next week.